This video is to all the people that have a passion or desire to travel. I am so thankful that when I was a teenager, I happened upon some books. One of them was Walk Across America by Jennings. I can't remember his first name. Another one was Dove by Graham. And there were a couple of other books that, another one was Bicycle Around the World or something along those lines. It just started resonating within me. It started creating this desire to see what's out there and to move beyond my limited field of perception. And that's the thing, most of us, and especially if you're young, we have such a limited field of perception. And we make major life decisions based on that limited field of perception. Just limited knowledge, lack of experience, and using conformity as our guidelines. So whatever friends, family, society says we should be doing, or what they are doing, we tend to mimic and copy that. And I said, I can't live the rest of my life in that small little box. It's suffocating. And I decided I'm going to do what it takes to step out of it. And there's some people that have emailed me or made comments about traveling, and that's why I use the name Vagabond Steve, because that's been a core principle of my life, is to be a vagabond, not to be weighed down by possessions, by responsibilities, by obligations, unless I chose to. And there might become a stage in my life where I do choose that, but at least I've had the experience to enjoy the nectar, the fruits of life. And there's so much fruit out there, but we create our own prison. And especially young people, especially people in their late teens, early 20s, use this time, use your youth to explore, to get to know who you are, to travel, to shed all the conditioning that you've been bombarded with from a young age. Allow yourself to be, and ignore the naysayers. People will say, people used to say to me when I would plan my next adventure, what are you running from? I hope you find what you're looking for. There's this saying, not all those who wander are lost. I forgot who said that, but it is so true that the best education you can get is to explore, wander, be free. And a lot of us will immediately, the mind will immediately come up with excuses of why we can't do something. There's a million reasons why you can't do something. I don't have money, I'm in school, I have responsibilities. Yeah. So work, if you choose not to shed those obligations, responsibilities, material burdens, whatever, find workarounds. If you have a pet, find somebody that could watch your pet, maybe for 2 weeks. And traveling doesn't mean you have to go to another country. Some of my best traveling adventures was right within the United States, even right within California. There's some amazing places. And it doesn't even have to mean you go for 2 weeks. Go for a weekend. But let yourself break free of the rut, the grind. And I always thought it was sad that most people saving for the retirement, saving for the day that they're probably too sick, too old to travel. When I turn 60, that's when life will be good, and I could get in my RV and I could go travel and see the world and live off my retirement. First of all, we don't even know if we'll reach 60. Second of all, it's a completely different adventure and experience that you'll have in your teens, 20s, even 30s, or later, any age, than when you're old and you've putting in the life's beating you down from putting in the grind, going to a job you don't like. One of the joys about traveling is I'm not big on sightseeing, going to play. Oh, look at the Eiffel Tower, or look at these museums or art galleries. Those are nice. But one of the things I love most about traveling is the journey or the process of discovering who I am, of growing, of the spiritual evolution or revolution of the person that you become when you push outside the boundaries of your comfort zone. And the nice thing about it, of traveling when you're younger versus when you're older and retired, is that you can, those life experiences, you take that into your life when you come back into the real world, or whatever you want to call it, into your 20s, 30s, and 40s. You're a different person. Your value system, your life choices are different because you put yourself through a second education. University might be the first education for most of us, but the most important education for me was traveling, vagabonding. It's just the most amazing experiences. Yes, I'm poor. I don't have any money, but I have memories, and I would never trade those memories, those life experiences, for any amount of money. How do you start? Like I said, start small. You start with the small weekend, go camping for the weekend, or go for a week, and start the process. I can't emphasize this enough, the process of simplification. What burdens most people down is obligations, possessions, responsibilities. And learn to live with less. Part of the reason we burden our lives with so much material possessions and obligations is because there's a sense of deadness within us. Living the typical life of going out and grinding out a living, 9 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever, however many hours, and punching the clock, it's numbing. And you need stimulus, external stimulus, just to make you feel like it's worthwhile. So, buying all these fancy material possessions is some comfort to justify the enslavement that our being feels. So simplicity. I'm constantly I don't have a lot of possessions. And the possessions I do have, I use. And I'm constantly in the process of simplifying my life. And can I get rid of this? Do I really need that? And it creates a lightness, a freedom. Not only because you don't have to carry all this stuff around, but because I believe that as we shed these things, the least amount of things that we have, your mind is not as distracted. Your energy is not as pulled in one direction, another direction. It's like walking to a room that's in order, simple, clean. Your mind has much more breathing room to be creative. Simplicity is the first thing. The other thing is toxic relationships. Relationships that don't serve us, that weigh us down, is you start shedding those. And then evaluating your life choices. I was reading about one of the founders of, I think it was PayPal. One of the founders of PayPal is offering people college students $100,000 to drop out of school and use that to create a business or something like that. And I'm starting to read a lot of stuff of the value of university. And most of us never even question. Oh, we just automatically go, yes, university, because I'll be a failure if I don't go to university. And start questioning the system. Start questioning your own personal value judgments. Religion is another big one. I went through stages where I was very radical. I was either radical vegan, radical into Christianity, or whatever. I went through all these stages where I was really adherent to a specific value system that other people was created by other people. And I find that it totally weighed me down because I was confined to acting within accordance to this value system. And once I strayed from this external value system, I felt guilty and I kind of just felt stifled. And I would just kind of whip myself back into shape. Okay, I need to walk the straight and narrow path. So I found that shedding these preconceived value systems, because what holds a lot of us back, not only in the physical realm, is all this indoctrination we've had over the years of our life. It's just, I can't even imagine. I'm reading a book about what life's like in North Korea, and I just can't even imagine what it's like to grow up in North Korea and not know any different and just have this value system that is imposed by other people. And what happens with value systems is they are designed by nature to benefit others. And you just go through all the different value systems. They are designed as a form of control. And they keep us so entrenched that we can't grow and experience new things. It's like a big tree that is confined in a small little flower pot, and it wants to grow, it wants to become more, it wants to reach for the stars, but it's confined in this little pot. Well, we have so many unexamined ideas and thoughts that limit us. Just even something as simple as when I tell people, oh, you should travel, man. When people are complaining about their job or going to school or university, you should sell everything you own or most everything you own and travel. And immediately all those preconceived values kick in. Oh, what would I do when I get back? I don't have enough money. And limitation. I talked to another guy who's unhappy with his job, not making enough money, wants to change, doesn't like living here. And I gave a bunch of suggestions. And the first thing was limitation. Oh, his response to my suggestion, oh, I couldn't do that. I don't have enough money to do that. And we are conditioned to think in limits instead of possibilities. And it's not that hard. It's just doing it. When you start overthinking things and let the mind and fears and comfort zone reign supreme over your life, you're going to be stifled. But when we start flowing with that inner spirit, that inner child, that part of us that loves freedom, exhilaration, and adventure, and we start obeying that, just new worlds, new possibilities open up. And you got to catch yourself, because the first thing you're going to do is the conditioning, societal conditioning will kick in, and you'll think in limitations. So what's next? Next is making a plan. Big believer, you have to set down what you want to do and write it down. When I did my New Zealand trip, I set it down. I started saving. I had the goal. I had the date I was going to leave. I had the amount of money I felt I needed, and it was just all was planned and set up, and it was just, then I went out and did it. But what most of us do is have a someday, maybe, I would like, possibly, but we need plans for accomplishment. So setting down and writing out our goals, and then ticking them off one by one, finding out where you want to go, what it is you want to do, and if you have limitations, finding solutions to those limitations. If money is the problem, finding opportunities to work or volunteer. I mean, there is amazing things that can happen for you when you become a possibility thinker instead of thinking in limits. And it's exciting. And the next thing is not to do traditional traveling. It's sad, but as I went to Thailand about maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I couldn't believe that it was very similar to all the places you'll find as the tentacles of westernization start spreading across the world. You'll find that places start looking to be the same. You go from one place to the next place, and there's the Starbucks, there's the McDonald's, there's the strip malls or shopping centers, and really try to get off the beaten path. And that's why I loved when I did my bicycle trip. Bicycled, and that was fantastic because I was off the beaten path. Or another thing I like to do is to try to work or study or do something where I can become part of the culture. And the great thing is when you become part of the culture instead of a tourist. I've never liked being a tourist. It's a completely different form of traveling, being a vagabond versus being a tourist. And one of the things that is great about being settled in a particular, finding a place that you like and kind of settling there for a couple months, half a year, or whatever, is you can start learning the culture and getting to know people and start becoming like a sponge. And what I found is that when you travel, you can pick and choose different things that you like from different cultures. And it gets you out of this tunnel vision thinking, this very westernized way of thinking, or even Americanized way of thinking of consumerism, and you are your job, and ego reigns supreme, your status, money, power, and all these things. And also spending time in nature when you travel, going camping, hiking, things like that. And if you can't start it now, set the goal for the future, and then start reading books. Start finding blogs or things on the internet. I was reading blogs about people a guy who walked South America, or there was a blog about a guy who just walked. That was his adventures. He would just walk from place to place, get a job, work a while, save some money, and then go to the next place. It's amazing when you simplify your life and you actually start enjoying your life. It's amazing how little money you need to survive, and you could become creative in the ways that you save money, and then start creating a network of people that to kind of support you and encourage you. Reddit, reddit.com is a fantastic place. They have all different kinds of subreddits, so different groups that you can find, frugal, simplicity, and all different excuse me, all different things that you can find to connect with people and build a network of support. When you're surrounded by conformists, it's hard not to be one yourself. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for all your support, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.